Hello there, and welcome to the Artificers Guild. I am Decoy, and this is ArtiStacked, the first of many in our deck guide video series. While Artifact is still a long way off, we've been able to piece together what might be the very first Artifact deck. Over the last 2 sessions of playtests, we've had a number of videos and screenshots from a demo version of Artifact. It seems as though the same deck was used for the blue-green demo both times. So we are going to take a look at the composition of Artifact's first blue-green deck. This is obviously not 100% confirmed, however, as you're able to have up to 3 of every card in each deck, with a minimum of 40 cards, but no maximum. So for all we know, the actual demo decks could have 1 copy of every blue and every green card made so far. For the purposes of this video, we're assuming that the deck contains 40 cards, and there will be 2 or 3 copies of most cards, if not all. Without further ado, let's take a look at the deck. Let's start at the top, with the heroes and the premier cards they bring along with them. Just a quick note before I go into the analysis, I will not be detailing the full stats of each hero card, as I already did an entire video on that. Go check it out if you want to see all of the heroes currently confirmed in Artifact. The first hero in this deck is Crystal Maiden. The deck itself has a relatively high mana curve, with the majority of cards being above 3 mana. Because of this, any combination of plays would likely have to wait until much later on in the game. With Crystal Maiden, however, you would be able to chain a number of smaller spell cards after your first big cast. One such smaller spell is her premier card, Frostbite, which deals 2 damage to a unit and disarms it for a round. Disarm is the perfect addition to this deck, as this deck has some crazy late game potential, and stopping an enemy from attacking for 1 turn early on could be what separates a win from a loss. The second hero is Zeus, and his premier card, Thunder God's Wrath. Zeus works in perfect tandem with Crystal Maiden if you need to be able to full clear an opponent's board. Her ability lets you cast a lot of spells, and his deals damage for each one. You don't even need to commit both to the same board for a prolonged amount of time to do this either. Crystal Maiden is quite the utility based hero, so her weapon of choice could easily be a Blink Dagger, allowing her to move to whichever board will most benefit from her at the time. Zeus's premier card, Thunder God's Wrath, works in a similar vein to the aforementioned combo. It deals 4 damage to all enemy heroes in every lane. We can clearly see that Zeus fits in this deck as a general source of consistent clear, but much later in the game enemies will have much higher health pools, and Zeus will become inefficient. The third hero fills this void. Luna and her premier card Eclipse are designed to do an enormous amount of late game damage. Eclipse deals 3 damage to a random enemy in the same lane, for each charge it has. Eclipse gains a charge each time Luna's effect, Lucent Beam, is activated. These 3 blue heroes bring a lot of control to the deck, and is reminiscent of control decks in other games, with ways to stall out single targets, to decimate rush tactics with wider clear, and copious amounts of late game damage. However, in Artifact, that damage likely won't be enough to kill a tower. For that, you will need some heroes with good damage to back you up. And Lycan brings this damage you'll need to take out the enemy structures. With a Blink Dagger on Crystal Maiden, you will just need to find a way to give Lycan one other ally to combo with. Fortunately, Lycan's premier card is Savage Wolf, a 4 mana summoning spell that puts a 3 attack, 0 armor, and 3 health creep on the board. Savage Wolf then buffs itself with +1 attack and +2 health after each combat phase. Lycan and his wolves will bring some much needed unit based damage for you to take down some towers, but it does rely on the enemy not having much clear of their own, as unlike heroes, these creeps will not respawn. That is where our 5th and final hero comes in. Rix will make sure that you always have at least 1 strong unit on the board at all times, while providing yet more control through his premier card, Truth of Power, which is a 5 mana cost spell that silences a unit for 1 turn. So long as you make sure to keep Rix's attack high, you can use him to beat down enemy heroes and towers. However, and we've said this in other videos before, the rapid deployment mechanic can work against you, as it guarantees the enemy will always have a 5 gold target on the field. So make sure to keep Rix out of negative armor, and with a sizable health pool, and these 5 heroes will get you to the later stages of the game and be unstoppable thereafter. With the heroes and their premier cards covered, all that remains is the other spell cards. We're aware that there's an item deck too, but we've only seen 2 or 3 shopping phases, so we really can't confirm which items came from the random selection and which are from the side deck. There are 10 spells being used in this deck. The mana curve, as I mentioned before, is a little high, but that is counteracted by Crystal Maiden's ability. Ventriloquy is the first spell, a 1 mana blue card that lets you make a unit taunt. Taunt is a fantastic effect that gives you control over pathing. This allows you to target enemy heroes, or protect some of your own. In fact, if you use this 1 mana cost card to protect Crystal Maiden, she will give you 2 mana in return. Culling Plan is a 2 mana blue spell that lets you swap 1 unit with a different neighbouring allied unit, and then draw a card. Again, this is effectively a 0 mana cost card with Crystal Maiden, and you get card draw on top of it too. Along with Ventriloquy, Cunning Plan will give you enough control over pathing to safely get you through the early stages of the game, or allow you to set up that big killing blow later on. Rebel Decoy is a 3 mana green spell that summons a Rebel Decoy on that board. With 2 attack, 0 armor, and 3 health, the Rebel Decoy's main purpose is yet more pathing control. His ability lets you swap him with another ally. Whether this works across boards or not is yet to be determined, but even if it doesn't, this card gives you slightly more control than Cunning Plan would, and puts a creep on the board as well. We then have 2 green improvements, with unknown effects. The 3 mana cost Mists of Avernus, and the 4 mana cost Celemene's Favour are unknown to us currently, but sadly we don't have the screenshots of videos to back these 2 cards up, so we're going to have to leave these there. I want to talk about both of the next 4 mana cost cards together. The blue spell Dimensional Portal and the green spell Act of Defiance work hand in hand to bolster your creeps in a lane. The former summons 3 melee creeps in your lane, and the latter gives all creeps in your lane an extra 2 attack and 1 armor. This 8 mana combo can completely turn a lane on its head, or even win you the game. Don't forget that if this happens in Crystal Maiden's lane, this is only a 6 cost combo that gives you 2 mana to work with after the dust settles. Finally, we get on to the bigger cards. These are the ones that will really set the tone for the game, and basically outline any hope of a win condition outside of your heroes. If your Lycan has no friends to buff, or you keep losing your Crystal Maiden before she can get any control done, then these are the cards you need to rely on. Firestorm is the first of these. It's a 5 mana blue improvement card that will deal 2 damage to each enemy unit before the combat phase on that board. This could be a great way to shut down an enemy pushing hard on a board, or could even be used to secure a board for yourself, without having to commit too many other resources to it. Annihilation is the next card, a 6 mana blue spell that condemns all units. We still aren't 100% sure as to when condemn triggers, but it seems to simply kill all cards it affects there and then, so Annihilation is effectively a complete board clear. Now this might sound horrendous, but remember, Artifact is played over 3 boards, so this is only 1/3 of a full clear. The final card on the deck is Emissary of Quorum. This is an 8 mana green spell that summons an emissary to your board. The Emissary of Quorum is a 1 attack, 2 armor and 10 health creep, with an effect that adds 2 attack and 1 health to all allies. This is your Lycan on demand, if he has otherwise been shut down. This bit of tempo can give you what you need to get back into the game. It gives your melee creeps enough power to take out enemy creeps, and it will buff your units long enough that you can wrestle back control of the game. Of course, if you're evenly matched, or even winning, then this just becomes a win more card, giving your already beefed up units even more levels of power. When I was first watching the playtest of this deck, I couldn't wait to get my hands on a red-black deck and start tearing anyone who dared use a blue-green deck to pieces. However, after looking over the full card list, I think this deck is actually a relatively well-balanced composition. It has excellent control at most stages of the game, barring the first couple of turns, and once it gets towards the latter stages, the control it brings is unparalleled, all the while your units are getting stronger and stronger as you buff them with effects and items alike. What do you think of the deck? Are there any other cards we know about that you would substitute in? And what items would you run alongside it? Let us know your 9-card item deck in the comments below. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Artificer_Guild to get all of the latest news and updates surrounding the channel and Artifact itself. Also, you can like and subscribe, as it will really help our channel grow into the community we're looking to build here. I've been Decoy of the Artificers Guild, and we will see you next time.